Greetings and welcome to CRT Gaming Podcast. This is episode number 18, Doom 2. This is Jones, and with me this evening are my good friends Dazpick and Gohan. And I'd like to take a second and wish everyone, hope they had a Merry Christmas, and by the time you're hearing this, have a Happy New Year. So let me ask you, Dazpick, did you have 20 megabytes of free space available on your hard drive to install this game?
Just barely, but yes, I did. And it's impressive how much nicer this runs back when I originally played it. I mean, then when I originally played it. Modern hardware, wow.
It's kind of amazing. Like looking at the specs on this game. So, Mr. Gohan, you chosen Doom 2 for us. I'm going to assume you had your 486 up and running, your 4 megabytes of RAM.
We were, it's, as Daz said, it's a kind of a night and day from playing it then to now. But my 486 was running in high mem mode, so we were good to go.
Well, this is a game that's basically the sequel to Doom, which was like a shareware game at the time. And I think Doom 2 was a full release, like a boxed version was available and everything. And so you chose this for our like kind of Christmas episode of what you were wanting. Did you acquire this game on 3.5-inch? I forget what were they floppies?
Floppy disks.
Floppies?
Rigid floppy disks.
Yeah.
Yeah, the when that Game Pro was released, this was the game that I was waiting for. I could not wait for Doom 2 to come out, and I was elated to pick up the boxed copy of this with the awesome artwork from Braum on the cover. It just was like, it is exactly what every Doom 1 fan wanted to kind of see when they picked up the sequel.
I remember this. This is right before, maybe actually a couple years before I actually took the plunge to get a PC for myself. But I do remember this is one of the first times I started to want one, because they had a couple games. I always felt like the PC games of like that era, we're talking about, like this is like the X-Wing game had been out. I think Myst just came out.
Yeah.
And stuff like Alone in the Dark. So it's like, but for the most part, most PC games, they had more content than a console game, but I didn't feel like they had a giant edge over visually what the consoles were providing. Kind of up until like Wolfenstein and Doom started happening. And then definitely Doom 2 is a trip down memory lane. This game is, it's hectic. It definitely gets a little wild.
This game, I think, also is in the kind of on the list of best sequels of all time. There's just, something about this game. Like you, Jones, the PC at the time, if you weren't into like strategy games or Civilization or any of the games that you just kind of listed off, there wasn't anything that was like a real like showstopper where it made you pay attention, and the Doom series absolutely did that. And Doom itself was a phenomenon, and when the sequel came out thereafter, it was just such a huge improvement. And one of the things that's kind of easy to forget is how quickly, even back then, computer technology was advancing, and so much of what made Doom 2 awesome was the potential with even newer hardware to run the game on and just build their experience with. While it doesn't look like a completely different game from Doom 1, there is a lot going on in the moment-to-moment experience that I think is huge improvement over the first game.
I think the only thing that I didn't like as much on this one. I mean, like, the game's awesome. The only thing I like better in the original, I think that the music was more amped in the first one. Like, it starts off with like what's basically a riff of Mouth for War from Pantera in the first game.
Yes.
And this one,
Yes.
the music in this one is very, it's just, it fits the environment, you know.
They're going way more for like more original composition, and while it's good, there is something awesome because, let's face it, there is a huge component of the type of music that we are all kind of into at the time, and like Pantera and Metallica and all that. So it was it, and the first game kind of, you know,
it leaned into that.
I don't know if you'd say notoriously, but people kind of acknowledge that there's a lot of, at the time, current music that they were trying to homage or mimic, you know.
Yeah. So that's the only, I'd say that's it. The music in this was very very subdued in comparison to that. But the action and everything, and like you grab a key and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose and there's 50 freaking monsters in the room and it's like, damn it. But the fucking sound effects are holy shit. You know, I've played a million games between that time and now, but the sound effects in here have so much freaking punch. The chainsaw, when it starts ripping into something, it sounds like it's ripping into something. And the rocket launcher has that big oomph, like that bass hit when it connects, or even just when it launches. Everything just sounds so freaking awesome. Considering what it is, it was really cool as shit. You know, blasting the guys in the little giblets, and it was a good time, man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it definitely had a lot of the sound effects were good. Shotgun. It definitely sounded like you were shooting. They were getting hit hard when it shot. Yeah,
when you leveled off the freaking double barrel on one of those pink demons and they just dropped. It's like, okay. Even the spider guys that were running around, I forget what they're called. But man, it's like 2 blasts and they're down. It's like, holy shit, man. It's a serious shotgun.
I think that's one of the things that's like so kind of obvious with the sequel. We were talking about the double barrel shotgun, and there are really not a whole ton of new additions to the sandbox. They definitely add like a couple new bad guys in Doom 2, but really the sandbox was just so tuned in from the first game. Where Doom 2 kind of took off, in my opinion, was in the level design. I mean, the levels themselves are just kind of masterpieces, in my opinion, that because they're great in and of themselves on their own as a campaign, but they also do something which is pretty damn hard, which is getting them to feel good and balanced in a co-op setting. You know, that's just, you know, building for another player on top of it. Like, it's you know, hard to do, and it definitely worked well with the different difficulty settings. With Doom, it was still before, you know, Quake World and, you know, hardcore ultra deathmatch, that, you know, really a lot of the levels that you were playing were campaign levels, and that is also super hard, right? So it's not only the great campaign levels for single player, they're awesome for co-op, and they're also great as deathmatch levels as well. And I think that just says something about like the thought and design that went into the levels themselves in this game. The sandbox didn't change too dramatically, but it's the levels that really just kind of took off.
Yeah, this is like taking place at a time where the company, like id Software, is totally different now. But I mean, this is when you had like, they're kind of like the PC gaming rockstar, you know, developers at the time. You had like Carmack and Romero and McGee. And they've always, basically for many years, they kind of always just pushed this like first-person genre like forward. You know, whether in like gameplay, like, you know, when you would leave Doom and then, you know, well, let me backpedal just a minute. One problem I had with Doom, going back and playing it is I can no longer rewire my brain to not look with the mouse. Like, I cannot go left and right and shoot. I need to zero in. I need to basically, bind M-look to Doom 2, which I didn't look into how to do that. Which, you could do back on the original Quake. So I ended up playing it on the console. Just, that's a little sacrilegious. But it was easier for me to not have to... Because every time someone was higher or lower than me, my brain just wanted to move the mouse down to them.
Oh, versus kind of like their aim assist stuff that they have, where shooting a bad guy's just above you.
Yeah, on the plane.
Yeah, on the planes. Yeah, like I play too much FPS now, and then for the past God knows how long, it's been 30 years, I can't go backwards.
That didn't bother me at all. I had no problem with that. But I don't play as many as you do.
No, I'm still addicted.
Yeah.
See, I admit my problems.
I don't have any problems, so.
We've called you here for a reason tonight, Daz. Well, you're kind of talking about the how big the kind of personalities were, and this is definitely like very well tread ground. And if folks listening to this, if folks listening to this haven't read or done the audiobook of Masters of Doom, it's pretty entertaining for if you're just a fan of video games or a fan of the series. Obviously, like, definitely check it out. But people are very familiar with people kind of surrounding this game and the history therein. But I think the person for me who, just to kind of go back to the levels themselves, is Sandy Peterson's contribution to this game. Like, there's 32 levels in Doom, and I think he designed like 3/4 of them. Like, and I think that's just like amazing, because there's just the encounter design and the levels is awesome. Like, there's actually traps in the game. There's ambush encounters. There's so much stuff kind of going on there. Like, they're so non-linear versus Doom 1. It felt more like an adventure, playing this game. And of course, playing cooperatively with your friends, you felt like you were kind of sharing that adventure with a friend, which was it's something we take for granted today, but back then it was a very, very, very novel experience.
Yeah, I do know anytime you hit a kind of, not a wall, but you've cleared the section and you're trying to figure out what I missed or where I need to go to either get a key or open a door, or you're looking to how to progress. But the second you actually figure it out, it's immediately like all hell's broken loose again.
Yeah,
it's like I open the door and here it comes.
Rawr! Yeah, every freaking time, man. Or the lights go out, and then all of a sudden just 50 things are chewing on your face. Yeah, good times.
Now, there's a lot of things that I kind of forgot about over the course of time. It's kind of strange, but some things I remembered. Like the very first level, I remembered the chainsaw, where it was. I remembered how to get the rocket. I remembered, like, oh yeah, there's something over here. Oh yeah, that's how I get the rocket launcher. But then, like, I get a few levels deeper where it's kind of get blue key, get red key, get gold key, and then my memory kind of fades. And that was one thing that games still kind of do that to this day. They toggle the carrot as to what you need to get to progress further, but this is kind of like the rudimentary version of it. It's like, you need this key, get this door open, But it's a blast. It's definitely kind of tense to the same level that the newer Dooms are today. I mean, they're kind of graphically throwing a lot more at you, but it's still, there's a lot on your plate. You gotta clean your plate before you can have dinner.
It's all about crowd control.
Definitely.
Yeah, most of my memory, like, as soon as I would start a level, like, the pain that I suffered when I originally played it all came crashing down on me right after I got into it. I was like, oh Christ, I remember this. Oh shit, this one. So that was kind of funny until I hit that one where you have to go across those platforms in the L shape, and I'd always shift run, and I'd go too fast and I'd overshoot the damn platform and end up in the muck and die. And yeah, that always pisses me off.
Yeah, because there's no jump. It's
No,
just,
there's no damn jump. It's shift.
Just movement and sprint. That's what you got.
That's all you got. Yeah, and if you if you either go too slow, you don't make it across the platforms, and if you turn too slow, you end up overshooting the platform. So it's a balancing act that I failed at. But
And there was a lot of like secrets in the game. Like this is one of the games,
yes.
like throwback to like that era where like if you were playing The Legend of Zelda, like you blew up every rock, burned every tree. Like this one, you literally
Shot every wall.
mashed the open button like on everything in the game.
And shot it. Or chainsawed the walls or whatever. So you weren't wasting ammo.
Yeah, I think that's a good kind of comparison, Jones. It's I love the Doom 1 and Doom 2 so much. Every stone unturned, every wall, I tried to use, and it was pretty awesome just kind of going back and playing it. It is like where every bush is in Zelda, I feel like I still have a pretty good grip on that, going back and playing this game again.
Yeah, I was just looking at some older reviews of this game, and I kind of found this one from a magazine you had mentioned in the past that you like, Next Generation. And they kind of gave it just like 3 out of 5 stars. And like here's a quote from it. It says, "Now that the first-person interface has become the design of choice for the entire industry, id will need to find new innovations, or it will quickly find its playing catch-up in its own game niche." Which I think that's kind of funny, because looking back at it, is they just trailblazed after this game.
I mean, I would just say that is categorically wrong.
There were games like Hexen and things like that came out that were similar, but no, not even close, man. It wasn't ever playing catch up.
Yeah, well, you had
what an asshat.
Yeah, the whole Quake series dropped. You then didn't have a 3D engine, a real 3D engine with the mouse to look, which created the first-person shooter that we play today. And then they went on with like Doom 3, and they started doing the normal mapping, which I think that's still kind of used to this day.
Doom 3 is still terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like Doom 3 engine with .3 normal mapping and like a full unified dynamic lighting kind of system. I mean, that's the fact that Doom 3 came out in 2004 is still kind of mind-blowing, because it still holds up in 2020.
I remember when that demo that they had at E3 or whatever leaked of Doom 3, and like the pink demon in the bathroom ripping the guy apart, dragging him through there. You remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember that.
Everybody was trying to get their freaking AMD cards to be able to run that because at the time they were the top shit. And I actually had, I kept it like on every machine so I could run it until the actual game came out. That shit was crazy good. Man, it was awesome.
I think that's one of the things, with when people talk about Doom 3, right there, people are always quick to kind of bitch about the flashlight and light and dark. But I mean, that is all over the place in Doom 2. Like, if you like being ambushed in a dark place, like, Doom 2 is filled with that stuff. It's not like that was some new thing for Doom 3. Like, that's, I think, one of the big things, right, is like in those levels, right, is like you get trapped and you're kind of alone in the dark, and it becomes a horror game pretty quickly.
Oh, it became, because like I said, I played it on the Xbox, And so I was playing it on my TV, and the TV does, it's an OLED, so it's true black. So like when it's terrifying because you can't see nothing. I had to turn the brightness up just because it was too much.
Hacks.
Dude, it was black. Like your screen's literally black. There's like you can see nothing.
That's awesome.
See, that's what hell looks like.
Yeah, and you just hear.
It's the absence of color. Yeah, I definitely did enjoy it. It was definitely nice to revisit and dredge up all those terrifying memories of angry levels and and being molested by demons in the dark.
Well, you were kind of talking about like all the secrets, in the game, Jones, and I think that was one of the things that even like, of course, there's like tons of cookies in games like nowadays that kind of guide the player around or whatever. But when you kind of stumbled upon like a really good secret in one of the levels, it totally gave you this like overt advantage or new way to play the level. Like it really did kind of make the experience feel pretty new. And yeah, I mean, some of the encounters are just kind of just the stuff of legend, especially when you kind of run into the cyber demon for the first time, and when they kind of show the new enemies to you as you're progressing. It's always like really meaningful, It kind of feels like a duel.
Something a little different too. Like you want to compare it to like how big the gaming industry has grown, since this moment in time. Like they had a 600,000 units of Doom 2 were sold within the first month. Which you compare that and this is like when Doom 2 came out. This would be the equivalent of something like like the new Halo game coming out, and before it comes out, like everybody reviews it and says, "Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever." Like this is something like that everyone would be waiting for when it happens, and it took them a month to sell 600,000 units. When you have pre-orders now for games, they're in the reach to the tens of millions sometimes.
Yeah,
So
we've come a long way.
Come a long way.
Right?
We have come a long way.
Doom co-op, like, did you guys? I think that's one of the things that maybe is a little bit different. That's maybe a little bit different from y'all's experience with the game. Like, I have such a strong kind of co-op association, especially with Doom 2. I was, lucky I had a computer that was able to run the game, and me and one of my really good friends who was into, PC gaming, he always had kind of the state-of-the-art stuff. I wasn't able to kind of, keep up with, all the newest stuff, but he did, and we were always able to, play the game cooperatively, and it's just one of those things where we would just keep playing through it over and over again, like just in harder and harder difficulties, to the point where, it was just like, towards the end of the game, it's just so punishing. It's like, with playing it through this last week, I was holding on for dear life on Hurt Me Plenty, and I think I only got to the 13th or 14th level in the game.
Yeah, there's a huge difference from the, there's like once, I'm trying to think of what it's called, but the setting lower than Hurt Me Plenty, as opposed to putting it on just Hurt Me Plenty, which is like what it starts on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was amazed at how quickly that got
Bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. That's what I did. Yeah, it's a little surprising that it was, I just remember hearing you guys trying to get a co-op game going, and how many hoops and what a shit show that was. A little surprised that is stupidly difficult.
That is the biggest head scratcher in this. It's like, it's
2020. We can't co-op.
It's been 26 years. Bethesda, well, now Microsoft owns Bethesda, so Microsoft, please support.
Don't blame this one on
somehow.
Microsoft. This was all of Bethesda.
Oh no, I'm just saying they own it now, so they can fix it. So
God, I hope so.
That would be nice.
Jeez.
Yep. Well, TCP/IP. It's too advanced.
I guess I suppose so, Jones. It's like
the download GameSpy.
Let's get on with the killing.
Oh my god. That takes me back.
but like you're saying, it's like back then the PC had some really cool stuff, but there was just nothing like Doom. There's nothing like Doom when it came out on the PC at the time, and there's absolutely nothing like it on the console. It was just, and plus, like, it was around this time where modding or these kind of tools were starting to be kind of used by people on message boards and online services and stuff like that. It's the ways that this game innovated. It's beyond just awesome, visuals and gameplay, but it's just how people like look at and interact with games.
Well, I mean, think about that. When did Quake 2 come out?
I think like 96.
What's that?
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, so think about that, okay? In about 2 years, right? We went from Doom 2 to Quake 2.
Well, Quake 1.
Or Quake, okay. Quake 1. Even Quake 1. But I mean, just the advancement in that, man. Like, holy shit. And then I know we got to Quake 2, which was closer to 2000, because that was because you and I got computers about the same time because of that game. Because of the 3DFX card, the Voodoo cards. And, I mean, holy shit, man. That's a lot of technological jumps that happened in that time. Especially because what Quake 2 became was basically the standard for all first-person shooters out now.
It's still the standard.
It is. I agree.
I'll fight any man on Tokyo Towers if you give me a week to practice.
That game is amazing.
Well, if you think about it, you had like the Voodoo card came out, and then they had the Voodoo 2 card came out, which then offered...
Stack them.
That's when SLI started, and that's still going to this. It's just now being discontinued. Like, I think the 3090 is the only card that's using it, and I think NVIDIA is no longer supporting it. Like, they're no longer supporting development of SLI, which is kind of sad. But it's amazing that technology, like I'd have to really think hard about it, but I know you had like the Voodoo 3, then the GeForce card came along, then like 2, 3, ongoing with that amount of cards.
Going with the multi-pipe rendering, that's seems like that's not the way the companies are going, these days.
Yeah. But it was nice. Run that game at 1024 by 768, baby.
Oh man, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. But yeah, I'll never, and I know I said it before, but I'll never forget when I saw it, because I was at my buddy Brian's house, and his card couldn't deal with it, but he turned on all the effects and everything. He's like, here, it's not going to play worth the shit, but check this out. And so I would see like maybe a frame or two, but I would look at it and I was like, oh my God, that looks unbelievable. It ain't moving, but man, that's awesome. And at that point, it's when I was like, okay, I need to get a computer that can actually do this, because that looks like something I need to be playing. Maybe that's when my problem started, man.
It is before then.
But that shit was amazing. And yeah, it all started because of the Doom games, and those guys, like you said, trailblazing the living shit out of it.
Did you it's not in the main game of Doom 2, but did y'all ever play the final Doom? It's kind of like an expansion pack to Doom 2.
I played around with it once or twice. It was like really hard, from what I recall.
Long ago, but I have very little recollection of it. But yeah, I have played it.
No, I think I have the name wrong. I think it's like Master Levels. It was just more awesome, multiplayer. right before I went to college, with my super badass 486 laptop, we would do a lot of LANing, and I remember a lot of the levels and master levels for Doom 2 was those were kind of LAN party favorites back then.
Yeah, well, that's something a lot of people. Well, they do like in tournaments and stuff like that, but a lot of people nowadays don't really understand how you would, get your friends together and move a bunch of computers together and have giant LAN parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a lost part of that pastime. That it's a lost part of the video game hobby.
So this Doom 2 Hell on Earth, if you had to well, you got your Christmas present. This is what you wanted. Was it everything that you'd hoped it'd been?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, me and two of my good friends who were also PC fans, we basically just lived this game. And for me, in my top games of all time, like there's on my top 20, I would say there's 2 FPS games, and Doom 2 is definitely one of them. It's a classic. I would review it as a 10.
Impressive. Throwing out the big numbers.
Wow.
10. How about you, Dazpick? How would you rank this game as going down memory lane?
Oh, definitely like a 9. It's not perfect. Like I said, I like the music in the original better. But this one definitely was all ambient. But yeah, it was hella fun, just like I remember, and just as annoying as I remember.
It's more chaotic than I remember.
It's just mayhem.
I remembered it being like that, but it's playing it and remembering it's totally different. It's just like, oh, holy shit. But yeah, I give it the same as you, Daz. I give it a 9. It's a classic. Totally is. Later on down the road when, like Quake, that was my baby. Kind of like how Doom is Gohan's baby here.
Quake 2 is your baby.
That's my baby's mama.
Man. If you hopefully, I would love to do a.
That's next year.
That's yeah.
If I have to start the year off with a bang.
Oh goodness, that'd be a way to start it right there.
Oh shit, Q2 Unreal Tournament, and what's another one from that time?
Oh, you could play the original Battle. I mean, there's tons of stuff like that, like if you go on older PC games like that, Unreal Tournament.
So I played a shitload of Unreal Tournament, man.
Yeah, and I played a lot of it. Played the
Headshot.
Well, awesome. Well, it's been a long year. But not really a long year, but we had a pretty decent season here, and we're gonna kind of take a break for about a week, and then start the new year off right with season 2. And over our break, we will try to come up with a plan as to how season 2 is going to start. But I like where Daz is going with it.
I'm feeling it.
Feeling it. So, have a happy new year. And this is Jones with Dazpick and Gohan. And we will see you next year.
Until next time.
Whoa.